Hello folks and welcome to the Starsector's Communities 7th Fleet Building Tournament. This is the current next round. I believe this is round 5 of the winner's bracket, and I think some equivalent round of the loser's bracket, I'm sure. And yes, this is a tournament of fleet building. This is of course AI versus AI. It is PvP, player versus player, but of course there isn't a multiplayer in Starsector, so the two players build fleets according to very specific rules set out by the tournament organizer, in this case Astraltor, and then the AI dukes it out for them. And we've had several streams already. We are, at least this is round 5 of the winner's bracket, hosted by our very great Thago already. And yes, we shall begin. I believe we have Surge versus Vera and Kissamise versus Soup in the winner's bracket, and then the loser's bracket will be Paul Coffart versus Dizzy, Johan versus the Eternal Soldat, Safari John versus Is Your Mojo Fly, and Symbols versus HD Scout. Right, let's go down here and we will begin at the beginning. We will proceed to the middle, get to the end, and then stop. Our first matchup of the day, of the evening, is Surge versus Vera. Surge's Fish Fiends Anonymous versus Vera's Victors. For people who aren't aware, there is a deployment point cap. You are limited to 150 deployment points, limited to 15 ships, 1 capital ship, and only 7 fighter wings that aren't built in. Which of course immediately is shown up by Surge's fleet, which has so many Tempests it circumvents that completely. Okay, so this is the TIS Big Breg, a standard Kronos equipped with an auto-pulse laser, plenty of point defense in 4 burst PDs, a heavy burst laser, sabos and heavy blasters, expanded magazines, and as well an integrated targeting unit. Quite standard, but quite powerful. Of course, it is a Kronos who comes in with a time accelerator, so it can basically speed itself up. Then we have the Heron class with a Claw Wing with Ion Fighters, a Gladius Fighter Wing, and a Falx Super Interceptor Wing, as well as point defenses and a Hypervelocity Driver. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Tempest classes pressure frigates with lightning guns, pulse lasers, and hammer class torpedoes, and an integrated targeting unit. Of course, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 9, 10, 11 Terminator drone wings. So that is a total of 22 Terminator drones, each with an IR pulse laser and a PD laser. That is a lot of drones flying around. Facing that is Vera's Victors, which I believe is unchanged as of last time because Vera was a bit too busy. We have 1, 2, 3, we'll go over everything, shall we? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 light Wasp cruisers, a pretty much entirely missile-based Falcon P, with 2 Reapers, 2 Harpoons, 2 Sabopods, and 2 PD lasers, as well as a converted hangar. So we have Wasp wings. So that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's... I see, only one of them is missing a Wasp, I see. Yes, okay, one of them has hardened shields, the other ones have Wasps. I understand. I was going to say, hang on, I did explain the rules about this. Yeah, with Wasp Wings of course have proximity mines and PD lasers. They are very good at point defense. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Strike Omens with resistance flux conduits, hardened shields, so they have extremely efficient shields, unstable injectors for speed, hardened subsystems, as well as ECCMs, ECMs, and Reapers and antimatter buses. These are very, very, very striky omens. We'll get around, EMP things to death, and then when things go EMP'd, they will absolutely obliterate them. That is a high alpha damage on an antimatter blaster, plus the even higher alpha damage of a single Reaper. And that is our first match of the day. It is a best of 1, of course, so we will start and let it finish. But we will go for it. We will reset, of course, because the game isn't technically made for this, so it does get a little bit tricky every once in a while. Hang on. Should probably keep this open. Hang on 1 second. Oh god. Yes. We shall just begin, I think. Yeah, sorry, this isn't actually going on live on YouTube at the moment. Because I haven't got that set up at the moment. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. It is rough, but I haven't got that set up right now. In which case people get surprised tomorrow, I suppose. I feel bad now. I feel genuinely quite bad. Right, let's go for this, Shin. We'll go straight in and just go nuts. And let go. Zoom out, we have battle lines of Tempests coming in from the bottom. That is 11 Tempests, that's 22 Terminator drones flying around. At the top, we have battle lines of Falcons forming with Omens on the sides. 2 Falcons have retreated to the back, 3 Falcons have gone to the back. One of them has decided to turn away from himself, because I don't know, they're having a little conference call here. They're like, are we sure what we're doing here? Do we know what we're doing right now? A single Tempest is trying to face up with a single, but like the range on those Tempests is quite high. Those lightning guns are turning to bear. They're sniping out some fighters quite accurately. So Terminator drones versus fighters at the moment. Sabres are flying out, but they're being taken out by so many PD lasers. Pretty much every fighter flying around the moment has a PD laser to fight with. The Tempests are going to flank. There's a Tempest versus an Omen up there. Lines have been set up properly, I believe. You can just hear the sounds of Sabos deploying as well. Oop, one Tempest there got a face full of Sabo, but is still rolling around. And we have stabilized flight lines. Interesting. No instant death, although a couple of Omens over here. A couple of Omens over here. CCF versus the Cronus. The Cronus is going to get really high flux really quickly. Those Sabres are going to come in. Oh, that Cronus is at super high flux right now. And is managed to scare away one of the Omens. However, a Tempest has already died. Tempest has already died. A second Tempest is down. Tempests don't seem to be able to take much punishment once they get into it. Oh, that is a very damaged Cronus. The Cronus is going to go down really early. That's a lot of Harpoons coming in to finish the job. A lot of Harpoons coming in. The Heron's already quite high flux. This started off quite slow, but now the Cronus has gone down and everyone's gone more aggressive. Or not, as the case may be. That Heron seems to escape unscathed and has time to passively vent. Another Tempest goes down, however. Tempests are ganging up on this one Omen over here, who is so close to death, but manages to fire off its Reaper. Oh, and the Heron takes the hit. A bit too high on the flux, didn't want to overload in front of an Omen, and takes the hit, but overloads anyway. And it's going to go down. Look at all those Harpoons. That is a lot of Harpoons. Those Harpoons are going to finish off that Heron, no doubt about that. And it's just Tempests left. And it is just Tempests left. Surge is down to Tempests, and I don't think Vera's lost a single ship. Oh, there we go. I cursed it. Sorry. Commentator's curse. I said that, and Omen died. Fleet's in a full retreat. It's not quite shame, because an Omen has died, but another Tempest is down. Another Tempest is down. I can't even focus on who's dying at the moment. I guess we're down to 5 Tempests, it looks like. And Whistle's closest to death. They're just trading fire. Oh! They're getting, I think, one shot. I'm assuming they're getting one shot by something. Can't really tell what it is. But they're getting one shot quite quickly. Sabos are luckily targeting the wrong Tempest, so that Tempest there can kind of block for his friend. Oh, that's probably a dead dip, the dead Tempest. We're down to 3, 2... They're trying their best, bless them, but it is not going to be difficult to kill them off. Because the second their shields turn around and Omen gets around them and EMPs them away... Ooh, killed by Sabos. Sabos take your shields down, not your health, but they hurt all the same. And that is cruel and unusual punishment. of a Tempest. That is cruel and unusual punishment of a Tempest. That's harsh. That is so harsh. But yeah, not quite a shame, because we managed to kill off a single Omen, who probably got a little bit too greedy, but that is a crushing defeat for Surge and a valiant victory for Vera's victors. Nothing can stand up to the pressure. Literally nothing. They are definitely pressure. Interesting. They were pressure Tempests, but currently something set up to them. So round 1 goes to Surge. This is of course Surge's first loss in the tournament, because everyone in the winners bracket has of course won every match until now. But yeah. Next, we shall go next and see what happens next. Next we have Kissimmee versus Soup. Kissimmee has mostly Hammerheads and Omens, but a single Conquest has snuck its way in there. Versus Kissa and Co. Space Repo versus Kierkegaard's Robust Clowns. Now this is a solid Conquest, I believe. ITU for the range, hardened shields for a bit more, I won't say efficient shields, but definitely more efficient than before, and expanded missile racks for the Locusts. However, we have a good mix of kinetic missiles, kinetic weapons, an ion beam, ion cannons, and some high explosive in the heavy mortars. We have Aegis Flak for superb point defense, as well as Beast PD lasers, and a mini blaster as well, because I guess some OP was left over. And these are all nuclear destroyers. SO reinforced bulkhead hammerheads with high kinetic up front, light shield machine guns, and a heavy machine gun, as well as a single ion cannon to punish and disable anyone whose shields goes down, as well as finisher missiles in the shape of harpoons, and assault chain guns, just in case they keep shooting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. That's a lot of SO hammerheads. They have done quite well in the past, of course. Kissimmee hasn't lost yet, but sometimes they get a little bit overeager. And then we have a couple of strike omens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can count on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strike omens with expanded missile racks. That's 4 hammer torpedoes each, as well as a point defense burst laser and an air pulse laser as well, just for a little harassment. That is Kissimmee's fleet versus Soup's fleet, which includes a Paragon. We have a Paragon with Paladin PD systems, lightning guns, integrated point defense AI, so this is the using tac lasers as point defense. Did we manage to find out how well that went last time? I can't quite remember how it worked. But that is a lot of point defense, considering they have one of the best point defenses in the game in the Paladin, and also several point defense of heavy burst lasers as well. That's a very, very heavy point defense Paladin. In fact, the only possible strictly offensive things they've got on there is possibly the lightning guns, but those are more supporty, and the auto pulse lasers at the front, with expanded magazines, so it will fire a total of 45 times a pop. The range on these weapons are going to be quite considerable as well, considering they're all pretty much getting doubled. These are 2,400 range tactical lasers, I believe. That is crazy. And stabilized shields and a shield conversion front, so it's a full 360-degree arc Paragon. Contrasting with the extreme high-tech on display here, we have some SO Flamer Enforcers. Ludic Path paint job. Ill-advised modifications, not even paint job, they actually are Ludic Path variants with unstable injectors, expanded magazines, expanded missile racks for all the sabos that are going to be fired here, and ECCM packages for them as well as swarmers for additional anti-fighter capacity. That's triple flamers, so they're definitely hoping something else will take care of the shields if their sabos can't quite cut it. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Yorick class Tempests, which is an SO Tempest with auxiliary thrusters, 2 pulse lasers, and a Swarmer SRM. Getting in there hard and fast with pretty much the entirety of the fleet. In fact, it's pretty much everything's going to get in there hard and fast, except for the Paragon. It's going to go back, and it's definitely, yes, it's an unfazed battleship. It's going to sit back and basically blasted everyone from a long way away. That is crazy. And I am curious to see how it's going to work out. So we're going to hop back there, we're going to hit reset just in case I screwed anything up, and we're going to go right back into it. Boop. Boop. And boop. And pull up. Now the Conquest is right in the middle, but the Conquest might not go in first. It's definitely not the fastest thing in the fleet. Both the capitals. It is capital versus capital, so there's a meeting. Oh, there you go. Tempests are immediately coming in, deploying to grab their points. One Tempest is just scouting out, which is literally what it's doing, because of course these fleets haven't got sight of each other. Even though I haven't got Fog of War, they do. So that Tempest is pretty much there to scout out. And is probably going to get killed immediately unless it manages to disengage. It's double Omens and Hammerhead. It's managing to stay alive. I'm not entirely sure how, but it's managing to stay alive. Uh-oh, there's Flux going over there. That's one Tempest down. Locust missiles flying away like crazy. That Enforcer's taking a little bit of punishment. That Enforcer's in a really bad place right now. That Enforcer does not want to be there. That Enforcer went way too ham and is somehow not dead yet. Although I may have cursed it. Another Tempest goes down. That is a dead Hammerhead, I'm assuming. Again, no. Come, Tempest down. Hammerhead's still in one piece. Not entirely sure how, but it is. I'm just going to trigger the Commentator's Curse over and over again for the entirety of this, I'm sure. And the point defenses are there. This will have the issues of the tack laser. The tack lasers have to spend time growing. So there's a lot of time. They pick a target, start firing, and can't quite reach their targets. They have to cancel the point defense. The tack lasers aren't necessarily my best choice for point defense because they can't always reach their target before the target stops being a target. Which is a very clumsy way of saying it, but I know what I meant. Ooh, both the Enforcers are down. Tempests are going down. That Paragon will last a while. It is a Paragon, but it is... Even a Paragon can't last from this much punishment. These are SO Hammerheads just doing exactly what they want to do, sitting right on top of it. And a Fortress Shield is a Fortress Shield, but it can't last forever. And they're just literally sitting on top of it. That Paragon is, unfortunately, in a very bad place. It got completely bereft of all support. And they're just slowly circling across it and just saying, you know what, you're a Paragon, but we don't care. Your shield does take a while to spread. And not shame, we lost a Hammerhead, but also not the Paragon, not the last thing to die. This Tempest must have been cowering away somewhere. Of course, all the Hammerheads are now having CR problems, so maybe this one Tempest can pull through. Maybe the Tempest can pull through. Maybe it can survive. Maybe it can be... Oh, never mind. That Tempest goes in, and it's two Hammerheads down. Like that Paragon was a very, very strong sort of standoff Paragon, but to stand off, you need a front line to hide behind, and I don't think it had the front line to hide behind. So that is a win for Kissimmee and a loss for Soup. Hey, it's a new high score, 100%. Sweet, well done. This is, of course, the first time this mission has actually been completed in this mode. Good, well done. How was 100% exactly? Not entirely sure how that was 100%, but hey, there you go. Next. So that was both matches of the winners bracket. That was the winners bracket. So Surge? Sorry, not Surge. Vera and Kissimmee move on to the next rounds. And Soup and Surge will hop down into the losers bracket for Thursday's stream, I believe, hosted by Thago. Yeah, both fleets have Admiral AI as well. So the AI does give them orders. You can tell in the beginning that the AI gives orders, of course, obviously to the one that I can see playing, but the same is happening for the other AI as well. You can tell by the usual lone ship that scouts off ahead, specifically to get vision. Right. Next, we have in the losers bracket now. This is a bit more interesting because I can actually start discussing about their trips. So Paul Coffart started at the beginning, won 2 matches and then lost to Vera. So it's Vera's fault Paul's here. And Vera has... Oh, hang on. Have I gone too far? I think I've gone too far. Yes, I've gone too far. Sorry. Yeah, Paul Coffart's fleet. So yeah, so Paul won twice, then lost to Vera. and now is here versus Dizzy. Dizzy has only played one match because he was seeded and lost to Soup. So yeah, we're going to do this. So we have here what looks to be a conquest. Oh, let's go straight in, shall we? Why are we messing around from there? We have a conquest here. This is a interesting conquest with a mix of kinetics in the Sable pods at the front, heavy needlers at the sides, and hypervelocity drivers, but also much point defense in the form of burst PD lasers, heavy blasters, Hephaestus, Hellbores, and harpoons for high explosive damage. This is an incredibly flux-hungry conquest. This conquest is incredibly flux-hungry, and even though it's maybe only going to be firing half its weapons at a time, theoretically, I've got severe doubts at exactly how much this conquest is going to be able to contribute with that high flux. Weapon groups. Alright, Paul, let's look at the weapon groups. Is this your fleet after all? Alternating on the Sabos and the Harpoons, and of course the weapon groups are, I'm assuming, set up side by side. That makes perfect sense for a... Yeah, this is how I usually would set up a conquest. You set up missiles separately, then you set up left and right hand sides. So this could be interesting. This could be quite interesting. We have a Heron here with point defenses, a little bit of point defense, not too much, but it is overlapping point defense, so it's a full 360 degrees of point defense. Inferno Mervs, which is a anti-fighter Merv missile, as well as 3 Cobra bomber wings. So it's basically refueling and reloading Reapers. We have 2 super escort drover carriers with Vulcan cannons for point defense, plenty of harpoons. That's 12 harpoons a pop, plus the Falx super interceptors for point defense. We have 1, 2 Eagles, so nice variety of ships here with very heavy kinetics, extremely heavy kinetics here with triple heavy needlers, triple graviton beams, capitalizing on tactical lasers as well. So we'll stay quite far away because the range is there, 1,000, and 800, so it can be quite easily over 100 range. Sorry, over 1,000 range. And I guess some torpedoes to back up in case shields go down within range. That is, triple needlers is a lot of kinetics, a lot of alpha kinetic. However, that does tend to be quite flux hungry, although we've got quite high in the fence as well, so we might be okay, as long as they don't get too pressured. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 inspired frigates, which have accelerated shields, resistant flux conduits, hardened shields, hardened subsystems, unstable injectors, an ion cannon, and a Reaper class torpedo. So they'll just dance around being a bit of a panic, a bit of a pest, just until they get that one shot in. That one shot in will be very interesting. They have the capacity of doing that one good shot, which has turned around battles in the past. Fighting against Paul, we have Dizzy's fleet with, looks like a lot of Omens, a lot of Enforcers, and a single Paragon. Dizzy has set up what is at first glance a perfectly serviceable Paragon. That's a Paragon. That's a normal Paragon. I see a lack of memes here, Dizzy. This is like a perfectly normal Paragon. What the hell? It's a big Omen? Is the meme is basically it's a box standard Paragon is the meme. I guess that would be quite memey for Dizzy, so one weapon group is the meme. Nope, that's not true either. That's again sensible weapon groups. Huh. But yeah, so we have plenty of range. These are going to be easily 2,000 range Tachyon Lances, which have a crazy amount of alpha damage. Ultra pulse lasers, ion cannons, much point defense, 4 salamanders, 2 heavy needlers, 2 ion cannons. This is perfectly normal. I'm disappointed. Now we have one obvious Omen. It's an obvious Omen because I guess it has a standard Omen loadout as well. Attack laser, a salamander, and a burst PD laser. Sorry, not burst PD laser, a regular PD laser. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fireball destroyers, which are SO'd, safety overridden, flak cannons for point defense, several harpoons, and flamers and assault chain guns, of course capitalizing on the shortened range caused by the safety overrides. They're going to be zipping in there and unloading essentially 24 harpoons a pop. That is 96, that is 120 harpoons between them. That's a lot of harpoons. That is a lot of harpoons. Plus, so we have one obvious over there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I must have clicked one twice. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 obvious omens. That's 9 obvious omens, each flying around with a salamander a pop. 120 harpoons between these 5. I hope they fire them all. That's one thing. Hopefully they'll survive long enough to fire them all. And a regular Paragon, I guess. Let's go back. Let's go for this. We shall reset. Ba-bam. And go in. Right in. And you can see at the moment, basically, the enemy fleet has exactly the same orders here. One thing will be sent ahead to get, mainly for vision, I believe. Because they have point defense the same as a regular player would do. Again, capital versus capital. An extremely flux-hungry conquest versus an extremely flux-efficient Paragon. Oh, there's a... The Omen did the advancing Omen was abandoned, although the advancing Omen on this side was not. Omens have, of course, been the frigates of choice this tournament and pretty much every tournament because they are ridiculously good. Here we go. Fighters coming in. Omens, EMPs, just take the fighters to pieces. Just take the fighters to pieces. Hopefully, these enforcers will fire their missiles off. It is imperative that they do. There's not much damage done there. Uh-oh, we have it. The Conquest has started firing. Battle lines have formed. No one's really pushing it. Possibly that enforcer there. The Paragon has engaged the Conquest, and definitely outranges it because it's a Paragon. Yeah, pushing Paragon in this fleet is actually quite a surprise. It's going to be down to what collapses first. Uh-oh! And nobody manages to sneak past the shield, shut off most of the weapons of that Conquest. All the weapons are down, missiles away. No harpoon response from the enforcers, I'm surprised. But there's still a heavily punished Conquest. I think harpoons could have come out by the bucket load. They're just waiting for that flux to go up. They are just waiting for that flux to go up. Omens are currently omening it out between them. Omen versus Omen said to be shields and EMPs for days. Oh, that's an overloaded there. Harpoons coming out, but they've got point defense. The first harpoons come out from that enforcer. That is a dead Conquest. The shield arc just wasn't enough to take a two-sided attack, and that is a dead Conquest. And that could be the beginning of the end. That could be the beginning of the end. Although the lines are still relatively stable, there's an enforcer trying to duke it out with an Omen here, and can't get past the shield. There's no kinetic damage at all on these enforcers, so they cannot really get past the super flux efficient shields of the Omens. They're only taking like half a flux per point of damage, and all that damage is pretty much high explosive. That's pretty much that is a heavily disabled but still entirely intact enforcer over there. This may just have been a tight mismatch because, ooh, the first drover is down. Over here looks like died to an enforcer. And I don't think all this alpha damage kinetic is going to do much against the extremely SO'd enforcers because they can just... Their armor doesn't care about that kinetic. Oh, here you go. That's 8 harpoons, one of which makes contact with that shield. There's a lot of point defense flying around. There's all these Falx interceptors, those harpoons, those herons are definitely stopping missiles from hitting. So I'm not entirely sure what's going to be happening here. I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen here. And the Omen comes in here and just... There's a bit of a deadlock. I mean, the Paragon can break it because the Paragon's got a standard loadout and is definitely unloading tacking lances on that quite highly fluxed Heron. But I don't think the Enforcers can do any damage to the Herons, and the Herons can't do any damage to the Enforcers. So that just is a stalemate. So we're waiting for the Paragon to break it. An Omen is down. That is going to be a severely heavily damaged Eagle. The Enforcer's getting close enough. Oh, if it... 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is 9 harpoons. And that is lasting longer than I thought. Probably still dead, but lasting longer than I thought. Ooh. That's a dead heron? That is a dead heron? That might be a dead Enforcer? The fleet's in full retreat, so... Paul's fleet has given up the Ghost. The AI will not let them retreat, of course, but they have given up the Ghost. And AI bugs have started to settle in now. Sometimes the AI bugs out, and you can see the Paragon's AI has bugged out, and... Oop! The Eagle's waking up again. Eagle's waking up, and they're coming to square off. I mean, that is a brave Eagle. That is definitely a brave Eagle. Because it can't really do a lot there. Heavy Needler is in range. It turned to face, but just outside range. Oh, there you go. It's a dead Eagle. Ooh, that is an almost dead Drover. That Drover is so much in a bad place right now. Is this Shame? I've lost track. Is this Shame? No, it's not Shame. No one has been destroyed. Okay, it's definitely not Shame. I guess the Enforcer might die just because of lack of armor right now, but there's not much damage coming in. These Eagles cannot really damage those Enforcers. And they can't flex them out either because of the safety overrides. And still I see at least 10 harpoons still here. At least 10 harpoons. Uh-oh. Engines are going offline here. That's CR29, CR39, so the CR is going down. The Paragon has decided to let the Enforcers finish the job, I suppose. I think it's maybe a dead Enforcer here. Enforcer possibly trying to fly out its last missiles. And those harpoons taking a really roundabout trip. But nope, the Paragon has finally arrived, puts a Tachyon Lance right into the engine, disabling one of them. In comes the Omen, disabling the other one. There's High Flux. Can't quite manage to kill one of them. Ah, manages to kill one of them. Well done there. I think it probably fired. Nope, none of the Astralpods have been fired. None of the Astralpods have been fired. But I believe that is the tackle laser of that Omen gets the final kill there. And all that's left is that Drover. No, it's a lie. That is a lie. I tell a slanderous lie. There's still a couple of Omens out here. Kind of wondering what to do. Because they are the... they've fired most of their missiles. All they've got is an ion cannon left, and they can't really do a lot to all these other Omens over here. Neither can these Omens do much to them, so they are in a bit of a stalemate. Waiting for their CRs to run out. However, we still have 1, 2, 3 Enforcers over here, and the Paragon is with another Enforcer over here. This probably won't last much longer. Or it'll last a lot longer. One of the two. That Enforcer's at 22, 55 there. Whenever the Paragon... We're waiting for the Paragon to join in, basically. We're waiting for the Paragon to join in. Whenever the Paragon joins in is when things will die. Uh-oh. Plenty of missiles coming out. And I don't think it can... Oh my god! Overkill much? That is a lot of harpoons for a single Omen. Even an Omen can only PD for so long. Even the Omens cannot PD for so long. Might as well speed up the last kill here. We're essentially waiting for another ship to turn up because these Omens can't do much. Ooh! Wow! Manages to kill an Omen. Manages to kill an Omen, so still racking up kills. But the timeout happens there. It goes reckless, immediately puts its shields down, and gets destroyed. That's 4 kills for Colfard's fleet, but didn't quite manage. And that conquest definitely could not keep up with its hunger for flux. Right. That's a win for Paul. So, a win for Dizzy. Sorry. Turns out, if you equip a Paragon properly, Paragons win. If you don't meme a Paragon is really strong. Oh, stronger than it would be otherwise. Next. we have Johan versus Eternal Soldat. We have Easy on the SO Boys from Johan, and Sundrover for Hammerheads. I'm trying to understand the pun, I can't quite get my hand around it. But, Johan, we have one light missile only cruiser, so it's set up as you've seen it before. We've seen this before in the fleet already. Someone else used it. I believe this is Veyra's loadout for the Falcon P, or at least they were using the same loadout. With Wasps as well. So that's one of them. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. That's all their fighter allowance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Omen Pulse frigates, which I have ion torpedo racks, ion cannons, and a pulse laser. Again, the super efficient shields. And 2 SO Hammerhead destroyers. Again, the likes of which we have seen before, except this we've swapped around the hammers for the harpoons for Atropos. Huh. Cool. Some tried and tested ships. I mean, this Falcon has shown to be incredibly powerful over the course of the tournament so far. And omens have just turned up everywhere. Everyone's got an omen because it's just a very, very, very useful little ship. Versus that, we have Eternal Soldat's Sundrover for Hammerheads, with 4 of the Soldat BSDs, destroyers, Sunders, which have basically incredibly long range gravitons and high intensity lasers. They've done fantastically well this tournament, just by being so far away, doing damage to both shields with the kinetic graviton beams and armor with the high intensity lasers. They just do very, very well. A Sunder is a fantastic frigate. This is a fantastic setup for a Sunder, and there are 4 of them. I expect them to do quite well. Then we have the Soldat Hamzite destroyers. Safety overrides. Very front heavy, no backguns at all, just kinetics, assault chain guns, and hammer class torpedoes. Get in there and destroy things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. Plus 3 light Sol Zapum carriers with a Fox Super Interceptor, a Thunder Heavy Interceptor, 4 Salamanders to pop, and 2 light assault guns with an integrated targeting unit. So these will all be firing at a range of 720. Not entirely sure that's going to be relevant, but it might be. I'm not sure what the significance of the additional 120 range there is, but I'm sure someone in chat will say. And we'll go back and we will reset and we will go on. We will go right on. Reset. Make sure I haven't screwed anything up by checking it. Okay, let us go. Falcon Ps are the best frigate. Even though Falcon Ps in fact are cruisers. Yes, that's very true. May the best fighter fleet win. Let's go. Straight in. Zoom straight out. And immediate cancellation of orders. We have fighting lines coming up from the top. The Sunders are definitely keeping in pace with each other. The Hammerheads are pushing forward a little bit. As long as they don't get too overeager, this should be okay. This is a no cruiser fleet versus a 7 cruiser fleet. That is something to be kept in mind. Even though they are quite light cruisers, they are still cruisers. And they're moving in. The Hammerheads, painfully aware of their lack of range, can't quite close as well as they should, but the lack of range is made up by the Sunders, who are very long range, and also pretty good at point defense, considering they got main beams. Oh, one Hammerhead has gone a little bit overeager there, and is dead. That is a lot of harpoons. Every single Falcon can fire 4 off at once, so that's a lot of harpoons. The second someone's shield fails or gets outfluxed, we'll definitely see a lot of harpoons flying. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, another Hammerhead getting a little bit close. Oh, look at those. Look at that. And the Reapers come out as well. That thing got deleted. Absolutely deleted. That may be enough harpoons. Not quite to overload that Hammerhead. Although this is now an overloaded Sunder, who's falling back into line. Won't get punished for it, but 2 Hammerheads go down at once. That Drover is really far forward. Gonna get hit by Atropos as well. That is a dead Drover. Might be a dead Sunder as well. Still no kills for Eternal Soldats. These Sunders have done quite well in the past. They don't... Oh, hello. We got a Venting Falcon who hasn't quite put its shield back up yet. And it's taking damage. Well, it's falling back. Sunder cannot 1v1. It is a standoff Sunder. Should not be sitting in the face of an SO'd Hammerhead. And that, again, that Drover's got really in close. That's 8 harpoons. Oh my god, I can't even count the harpoons anymore. Count them. The Hammerhead goes down. This is being very, very strong for the Falcons. The Falcons are showing that they are incredibly strong. Harpoons go out. That is a 2-4 Sunder. That Sunder is probably going to die. To a Reaper shot nonetheless. They are, of course, linked Reapers. More harpoons coming out. The Sunders have point defense in the forms of Vulcans, but they can't hold off all that nonsense. That's dead. Drover getting EMP'd out by the Omen behind it. Gets hit by one. Astropus gets killed by everything else. That is a dead Sunder as well. Fleet is defeated. That is shame, I believe. That is shamed out. There is no kills, sadly, for Soldat. Showing again how extremely strong these Falcon Ps are. Wow. That was quick. It happens. That is crazy strong. Just to go over the history, because I have actually done that. Johan won the first 2 matches and then lost to Surge. And Eternal Soldat lost his very first match to Is Your Mojo Fly, then won his next 2. So, again, I wrote it in the wrong bloody square. Yeah. My nose has been itching the entirety of the last match. Maybe you can tell by my voice, as I consistently rub out my nose. Hashtag professionalism. Next, we have Safari John's Doomed Safari. Still lacking a Doom. And Is Your Mojo Fly with exactly 10 angry and unfriendly spaceships. We have a Paragon, though. This is going to be a battleship in frigates versus a 6 cruiser fleet. Safari John starts off with a perfectly standard Paragon. In fact, this may be an even more perfectly standard Paragon than Dizzy's perfectly standard Paragon. Is that just a standard elite battle? Is that just the standard loadout for an elite Paragon? Is your mojo exactly 10? I counted. I was really hoping that it would be 9. I really hoped it was going to be 9 or 11. I was hoping for 9 or 11 there, Is Your Mojo Fly. Just rename it to the Vera P. Indeed. That is definitely what the that Falcon's probably going to get called eventually. That's the Vera loadout. Anyway, so we have one elite battleship Paragon with ion beams, heavy needlers, tachyon lances, point defense lasers, tac lasers, not set to point defense this time, so they will be actually targeting ships rather than trying to hit missiles and failing. And auto pulse lasers at the front, which have also the expanded magazine, so they'll be firing 45 shots a pop rather than just 30. That does add up. It's essentially, you've got 3 auto pulses here, essentially, with expanded magazines. Those 2 count as 3. Support Tempests with ion beams and phase lances, hitting at a good, strong range. Those ion phase lances are going to be at pretty much 900 range, and the ion beams are going to be hitting at over 1200. As well as having the Terminator drones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 support Tempests. Support Afflictors with contender cannons, a burst PD laser, and hammer class torpedoes. However, they also have ECM packages and nav relays. 1, 2, 3 of these. So that is a total of 6% top speed boost and 6% range reduction for the other side. and 2 phase PD frigates. PD frigates. There is no point defense on this frigate apart from its EMP, which I guess is enough point defense, but there's no other point defense on this frigate. It's basically sabos and an antimatter blaster. And would you count a swarmer's... Swarmer isn't really true point defense, but these are technically called PD frigates, although I disagree with the name. And a couple of close support wolves with ion beams, sabos, and triple tack lasers. Again, firing off at 1,200 range. So 1,200 range is here, 1,200 range is on these support frigates, and 2,000 range at least on those tachyon lances. And these, I think, these might be the first wolves of the tournament. I'll give them wrong, I could be wrong, but I think they are the first wolves of the tournament. I don't recall seeing any previously, but I approve of wolves. Versus, as your Mojo flies exactly 10 unfriendly spaceships. We have 4 fast new variant vultures. SO vultures with Sabo SRM pods, a heavy blaster, and 2 assault chain guns. 4 of these. 2 SO punishers with a Sabo SRM pod, assault chain guns, and a heavy needler, whose range is vastly nerfed by the safety overrides mod, and heavy armor as well. And extremely heavy armor as well. Extremely heavy, considerable heavy armor, let's be honest. Let's not beat around the bush, that's considerable heavy armor. And 2 SO hammerheads. 3 SO hammerheads, do apologize. Safety overrides, rail guns, assault chain guns, and Reaper class torpedoes. And the light Snoop ion carrier with 2 claw wings, solar shielding, and 4 ion torpedo racks. That's a lot of ion. A nice mix here between the sabos. Well, essentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sabos, 9, 10 sabo pods between the cruisers, and plenty of high explosive damage as well, and kinetics in the heavy needlers. So again, it's pretty much cruiser line versus a Paragon supported by several frigates. Reset that and go straight in. Good, thank you. Zoom out. I'm not expecting a front line to come from the fleet down here, just because it's too many frigates and a extremely slow-moving Paragon. What we want to see is everything staying alive until that Paragon gets there. That's the idea. We want everything to stay alive until that Paragon gets there. That's key. That's vitally important. The Afflicts, of course, using their entropy amplification to do more damage to certain targets. Phase coming in to disable some things, although there's a lot of ion flying around in those claw wings. If they unphase in the wrong area, they could immediately just die. All the Tempests quite happy to stay at long range. That Paragon coming in a little bit closer. See, the enemies do have a -6% to weapon ranges, which is less of a thing when everything is, or the enemy team is SO'd to short ranges anyway. 6% of a small number is also a small number. Although that is a quite high flux. Oh, never mind, he evented anyway. Uh-oh, that Paragon has actually moved forward a little bit unsupported and could get surrounded. Oh, that's a dead vulture. Not entirely sure how much the Paragon played a part in that, although I'm assuming a little bit. Oh, another vulture getting himself surrounded by looks to be a wolf, a shade, 2 Tempests, and an Afflictor, and the second Afflictor for support. Uh-oh, we already have quite high flux on this Paragon. Its support ships are being distracted by other support ships, and they're just sitting there. It hasn't had time to flux out. It's too high. I think those Reapers have come in and done their numbers already, and now we have Sabo's coming in. We've already lost frontal armor, it looks like, on the Paragon. So now it's just taking unavoidable hull damage right now. Oh, that pain! The EMPs from the Sabos also do a lot of damage and take out the Tachyon Lancer on one side. Hammerhead is down. It will not be shamed no matter what happens. Paragon is still alive though. It has managed to get a bit of a breather as all the frigates come in and join in the fun. I think it's managed to survive long enough for the frigates to support it. It has survived long enough that the immediate pressure has gone. All the frigates here punishing this vulture dramatically. It has no engines. It has nothing because of all the iron beams. Dead vulture. It's a dead hammerhead as well. It might be shame the other way around. It might have been reversed fortunes. That Paragon just soaked up the attention, soaked up the damage, and let the frigates deal everything else. That was a turn up for the books. This Punisher seems to be enraptured by that shade. And they got far too distracted, didn't capitalize the damage, didn't coordinate with their friends. And that is a severely deactivated drover. While the Punisher and the Vulture are, again, completely enraptured by ships behind them and care nothing. Now they can't turn around if they haven't got no engines, but facing the wrong way did not work out for them. Shades come in as basically phase omens at this point. And that's the Vulture down, and that is a last desperate burn by the Punisher, trying to do something, anything. Fires its Sabos. The Sabos won't get anything. They will not even get to deploy. The Paragon does its job fantastically well. And essentially, Paragon, I thought was getting overwhelmed, but in fact, just occupied 4 ships and just let those frigates clean up. Very well done. Very well done indeed. Safari John wins. Safari John won both the first matches and lost the third match to Soup. And Israel Mojo Fly actually has had the longest run of any person so far in the tournament, because Israel Mojo Fly, this was his 5th match. Their 5th match. They won the first match, lost the second match to Vira, won the next 2, and this was their 5th match. The only person in the tournament so far to have had 5 matches. Crazy. And lastly, we go to the very last match of the day. We are moving surprisingly quickly. But the last match of the day is Symbols versus HD Scout. Symbols won both their first matches and lost their third match to Kissimmee, and HD Scout lost their first match to Safari John and then won the next 2. So we could have potentially a couple of grudge matches coming online if Johan meets Surge, if Dizzy meets Soup. Yeah, Safari John could meet Soup as well. A lot of potential grudge matches coming up. So we have Crack Shipping Inc. by Symbols, a fleet made up entirely of freighters, and the Bounty Hunters of HD Scout with a Paragon in the mix, which looks like the Autopulse Paragon we've seen before, and several drovers. Let's go straight in to Symbols Crack Shipping. We have a Neptune, a Nautilus class Han Lando combat freighter with a couple of light phase lances and hammer class torpedoes. So light phase lances are going to be hitting at a range of 700. So they're all spread out. So that's 1, 2, 3 of those Nautili. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of these Circes, which are very beam heavy, advanced optics and integrated targeting units, putting pressure on essentially LRPD lasers, tactical lasers, graviton beams, and each of them have 12 Harpoon MRMs. Just of course have the plasma jets to move around a little bit. I'm not entirely sure how long they will last, but they've done alright. They did alright. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Gemini class Harry Draco freighters, each of them with a... Oh no, they're not the same loadout. Harry Draco over here and Snape Dumbledore's over there. Okay, we actually have to examine 2 different... Okay, this is a mixture. Hang on. 1 Snape Dumbledore, 2 Snape Dumbledore, 3 Snape Dumbledore, and 2 Harry Dracos. Right, Snape Dumbledores have a Fox Interceptor Wing, ECM packages, nav relays, and a single Palomar launcher, as well as extreme modifications. So they have... all of these have to do is exist. All they need to do is exist. Their Piloms can attack from pretty much anywhere on the map, and they might not have engines, but it doesn't make a difference. They've got super long-range fighters, and all they have to do is exist. Harry Draco, similar loadouts, except they've exchanged the Falxes for Thunders, which also have a super long range, an ECCM package. So all the Geminis need to do is exist. Oh, they do have light machine guns. I do apologize. Or at least one has 2 light machine guns, the other one has only 1. But all they need to do is exist. We have a light Holmes Watson carrier with 2 Dagger torpedo bombers, and a Palomar LRM launcher, and a couple of point defense weapons. And 1 C-3PO R2-D2 modified super freighter with 2 Hurricane Mervs and 2 Gauss cannons. Shield bypass as well. So a very... basically, it's a massive gunboat with really strong missiles and really strong kinetic cannons. Plus a lot of support fighters. Have we got the correct number of fighters here? I'm sure we do. I'm sure we do. 5 fighter wings, it looks like. Okie dokie. And that, versus that we have the Bounty Hunters. HG Scouts, Bounty Hunters, a Auto Pulse Paragon. It's a burst battleship, definitely burst Auto Pulse lasers, burst heavy needlers, mini blaster ray for point defense, burst PD lasers. There's a lot of bursts everywhere here. IPDAI, not necessarily changing the behavior of anything, however it does now also mean they ignore flares and get increased target leading and increases damage to missiles. Then we have 1, 2, 3 light hexblade carriers with flare guns, salamander LMRMs, Vulcan cannons, and 2 hexblade heavy fighters each. So that is a total of 18 hexblade heavy fighters. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 destroyers with light dual machine guns. Again with the integrated point defense AI. I'm not entirely sure what that's doing there. I guess for the bonuses to missile damage. Flare guns and assault chain guns, as well as safety overrides. And a single defense Tempest with a heavy burst laser, pulse laser, and flare gun. And a single defense Monitor with stabilized shields, hardened subsystems, and point defense. I guess this is the Hexblades and the Paragon, I would guess, but I could be mistaken. I could be mistaken. Okay, back up, reset, and let's go for the last match. Symbols, Crack Shipping Inc. versus HG Scouts Bounty Hunters. Again, Capital versus Capital, always nice to see. The Cersei's moving forward with their plasma jets, and then thinking better of it. All the carriers basically need to hang back, because they've all got extreme modifications. Their weapons and engines could cut out pretty much at any time. You can see the little flashes here and there as engines cut out because of extreme modifications, but all they need to do is exist. There is already a minus 10% enemy weapon range here, which might hurt that Auto Pulse Paragon a lot more. Anything else? Although that's the Cersei's gone aggressive already and is holding out, but again, these are beam ships versus SO ships, and that traditionally has not gone quite well for us, for the beam ships. The lack of hard flux has not particularly worked well against SO ships. That is, the first Cersei's already taking a punishment because it's venting in the face of the incredible damage from the Hammerhead. Who just sits with assault cannons and turns on the autoveters, and a couple Hurricanes coming in there. That's not really going to do a lot. Unfortunately, the high explosive damage versus the incredible point defense of those Hammerheads. They do have 4 light dual machine guns each. And that is an interesting matchup. The lack of shields on the Atlas is definitely punishing it right now. It can't quite generate enough damage on those flux shields, or even refocusing the Paragon, while the Paragon is just sitting back and is almost destroyed pretty much by itself, that Atlas. It is sitting just outside range right now. They are just outside each other's range. Beams are crisscrossing the map like crazy. Oh, it's moved forward again. Never mind. That's a dead Atlas. It moved forward again. Couldn't quite bring its guns to bear against valuable targets. That monitor is just there to annoy people, and it's doing that. It's dragging fire away from everything else. That Atlas is being one large piece of ablative armor right now. The Paragon has nothing else that will worry it, I do believe. There's not enough hard kinetic damage. Here, one Gemini is already down. The Cersei's are moving around over here, and they are facing up against Hammerheads, but I don't believe they win this fight. I do not believe they win this fight. Uh-oh. Fighters are coming out and attacking over and over again, but again, they're mainly proving distractions. They're mainly proving to be distractions right now. Sensor jammers are lost, so the minus 10% weapon range has now become a minus 4 weapon range with one Gemini down. The Paragon is firing at another Gemini. That's Condor will go down fairly shortly, I wouldn't believe. Oh, the Salamanders don't quite do damage, but there's a venting. Oh, here come the Hexblades. Hexblades will probably tear into that Condor fairly quickly, and the Hammerhead turns around to turn its assault chain guns against it. That is a... Those assault chain guns will do a lot of damage to any exposed armor they can see. And at the moment, I don't think this Gemini has any armor remaining at all. Have the bounty hunters lost a single ship? I don't think they have. The fleet's in full retreat. Symbols has already pretty much decided not to fight anymore. Another Nautilus is down, another Gemini is down. There is a single Tempest up here. It is a defense Tempest, but it's defending not sure against what right now. The Paragon is just slowly moving into position. It's a slow ship, but when it gets into range, whatever shooting at dies. And now the weapon range penalty has moved the other way because the bounty hunters own both of the sensor jammers. And the Circes are slowly dying out. That was just an intervent. Auto pulse lasers take that one out. Hex blades are just constantly harassing this one, who can't really do a lot against it. They are shielded fighters, of course, so PD lasers won't do a lot. When the gravitons hit, it does change things, but the PD lasers by themselves won't actually do a lot. That's a high flux over there. That's a low flux, but low hull as well. Uh-oh, look at all those fighters. That is several dual mini blasters. Oh, and the Paragon's joined in the fun. There's a... Oh. No, Paragon took no part in that. Paragon does not get to claim that kill. Paragon does get to claim that one, though. Ooh, and all we have got left is one little Nautilus facing off against the ultimate distraction, a monitor. And venting in front of the monitor because it knows the monitor can't really do anything against it, but this is not really going anywhere. And that Nautilus is looking over there and going, oh my god, what do I do with my life? And I think we just wait until the inevitable end of this last ship of today's fights. Wondering what's going to kill it. It might be the defense. Oh, come on. Ooh, just jumping out of the way. Just jumping out of the way. There you go. Ooh, jumps out that way. Last one. And overloaded. Shot 1. Shot 2. Oh. And the defense Tempest gets the last kill. And that is not a single ship lost for the bounty hunters. Which means that HG Scout advances on. And Symbols and the Crack Shipping Incorporated is sadly eliminated from the tournament. Crack Shipping was indeed cracked. And even though it's barely been an hour, that is all the matches we have for today, because these are all best of ones. Yeah, so very well done for all the players. What was the best moments? What do we think was the best moments? The Reckless Paragon. Congratulations to all the winners. Commiserations to all the losers. Sadly, Paul, Soldat, Mojo Fly, and Symbols are eliminated, and Surge and Soup are relegated to the losers bracket. And the next match, of course, happens on Thursday at 9 PM UTC on Thago's channel. As for me, my next Starsector stream will be on Tuesday. Surge is still in the losers bracket, so Surge will be coming back, I believe, on Thursday. Someone's got the link to the total for the actual bracket. They can put it in chat, I'm assuming. Astraltor has been very, very good at keeping that updated as we go. But yeah, what was your best moment? What was your worst moment? What was the best ship so far? So far, the best ship is Vera's Falcon design. Or at least that Falcon design that used by Vera. And yeah. So I'm back on Wednesday with my normal stream, and Thago's hosting the next round on Thursday. Anyway, I will catch you all next time, folks. And I need to desperately blow my nose, so I'm going to call my stream there, although I will raid someone else now, because I think we have got to 200 people and we can make someone's day incredibly awesome. But this is it for the YouTube VOD. Say bye to YouTube, and we'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye.